The sterile white corridors of Europa Research Station hummed with a subdued energy that only comes from scientific anticipation. Dr. Zara Novak's fingers danced across holographic interfaces, her dark eyes reflecting the soft blue glow of quantum communication arrays that surrounded her workstation. Something was different today. The quantum entanglement sensors were behaving unusually, producing readings that defied her team's most carefully constructed models. Zara leaned closer, her breath catching in her throat as a pattern emerged. Subtle, almost imperceptible, but unmistakably artificial. "Dr. Reyes," she called out, her voice cutting through the laboratory's ambient noise. "Come look at this." Marcus Reyes approached, his weathered hands adjusting the augmented reality glasses perched on his nose. Years of deep space communication research had taught him to be simultaneously skeptical and open-minded, a delicate balance that had served him well in the most challenging moments of human space exploration. "Unusual signal?" he asked, his voice a mixture of professional curiosity and restrained excitement. Zara nodded, her fingers rapidly manipulating the holographic display. The quantum communication array, a device that had cost billions and taken years to develop, was picking up something extraordinary. It wasn't just noise or random electromagnetic interference. This was structured, complex, and completely unlike anything they had ever encountered. The station itself seemed to hold its breath. Suspended above the icy surface of Europa, this research outpost represented humanity's most advanced attempt to listen to the cosmic whispers of the universe. Massive solar arrays glinted against the perpetual twilight of Jupiter's shadow, powering equipment that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. "It's not random," Zora muttered, more to herself than to Marcus. "These are definitive communication patterns. See how the quantum states are entangling in a deliberate sequence." Marcus studied the readouts, his decades of experience wrestling with the most complex communication technologies coming to bear. The signal wasn't just unique, it was revolutionary. Quantum communication had always been theoretical at this level of complexity, a dream that scientists had pursued for generations. "We need to verify," he said carefully. "Run multiple diagnostic checks. If this is what I think it is." Before he could finish his sentence, the station's communication systems flickered. Lights dimmed momentarily, then returned to full brightness. The quantum array began to pulse with an intensity that made the very air feel charged with potential. Zara's hand hovered over the emergency communication switch. Protocol demanded immediate reporting of any anomalous event, but something held her back. Intuition, perhaps, or the scientific curiosity that had driven her entire career. "It's attempting to communicate," she whispered, her voice a mixture of wonder and apprehension. The signal began to resolve itself, transforming from abstract quantum fluctuations into something that resembled a language, or at least a structured communication method. It wasn't like any human language, nor did it resemble the mathematical models they had developed for potential extraterrestrial communication. This was something entirely new. Marcus and Zara exchanged a look that captured the magnitude of the moment. Humanity had spent centuries listening to the cosmic background, searching for signs of intelligent life. And now, in this moment suspended above the icy moon of Europa, something was finally speaking back. The quantum communication array continued its delicate dance of entangled particles, each pulse carrying the potential to change everything humanity understood about its place in the universe. The communication laboratory transformed into a hive of controlled chaos. Dr. Marcus Reyes had activated the station's highest security protocols, sealing off the quantum research wing and initiating a comprehensive communication analysis system that would make even the most advanced intelligence agencies envious. Zara Novak stood before a massive holographic display, her fingers tracing the intricate patterns of the alien signal. Each quantum fluctuation told a story, a language of mathematical precision that seemed to defy conventional understanding. The signal wasn't just a message. It was a complex, living communication that adapted and shifted with each moment of observation. "It's responsive," Marcus muttered, his voice a mixture of scientific excitement and underlying tension. Look how the quantum states change when we modify our observation parameters. The station's chief of security, Commander Derek Hawthorne, entered the lab. His military background was evident in every precise movement, a stark contrast to the ethereal world of quantum physics surrounding him. "Report," he demanded, his eyes scanning the holographic displays. Zara took a deep breath. "We're dealing with something unprecedented. This isn't just a signal. It's an intelligent communication system that responds to our very method of observation. It's as if the message itself is alive." The implications were staggering. Traditional models of communication assumed a static message, words, mathematical sequences, or predictable patterns. But this signal was dynamic, changing its fundamental structure with each interaction. It was learning, adapting, almost communicating. Marcus pulled up a series of complex mathematical models, each attempting to decode the signal's core structure. "We've tried multiple decryption protocols," he explained to Commander Hawthorne. "Multiple translation matrices, but this isn't a language in any traditional sense. It's more like a living algorithm." Suddenly, the station's primary communication systems began to flutter. Screens across the research wing flickered, displaying fragments of the mysterious signal. Complex geometric patterns replaced standard interface graphics, creating a mesmerizing display of mathematical beauty. "Containment protocols," Hawthorne shouted, his hand moving to the emergency communication shutdown. But Zara was faster. "Wait," she called out, her hand raised. "Look at the pattern. It's not an invasion. It's communication." The signal began to resolve into something more recognizable. Not words, precisely, but structured information that seemed to pulse with an intelligence beyond human comprehension. Mathematical sequences that spoke of complex scientific understanding, hints of astronomical calculations that suggested a civilization far more advanced than anything humanity had imagined. Marcus leaned closer to the display, his breath catching. "These calculations, they're describing stellar cartography beyond our current understanding. Quantum navigation techniques that make our fastest space travel look like prehistoric transportation." Commander Hawthorne remained skeptical. Years of military training had taught him to approach the unknown with caution. "Can we be certain it's not some form of technological probe? A method of infiltration?" Zara shook her head. "This is communication in its purest form. It's trying to tell us something." The station's quantum communication array continued its delicate dance, each pulse carrying potential revelations about the nature of intelligence, communication, and humanity's place in the universe. The signal seemed to be waiting, not threatening, but communicating with a patience that suggested a civilization that measured time in cosmic scales. As the research team worked, none of them noticed the subtle changes happening throughout the station. Small systems began to recalibrate. Communication networks started to shift, almost as if the alien signal was slowly integrating itself into the station's very infrastructure. Something was coming, and humanity was about to receive a message that would change everything. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, her hands clasped behind her back as she studied the encrypted transmissions from Europa Research Station. The massive defense vessel, a testament to humanity's technological prowess, hummed with restrained energy. Powerful quantum communication arrays and advanced defense systems created a protective network that stretched across the solar system. "Status report," she commanded, her voice cutting through the ambient noise of the bridge. Lieutenant Prakash Kumar, the ship's primary communication specialist, looked up from his console. "The signal from Europa continues to evolve. It's unlike anything in our database. Dr. Novak and Dr. Rice are requesting additional resources for analysis." Elena's mind raced. Years of military training had prepared her for potential extraterrestrial threats. But this was different. This wasn't an invasion. It was something more complex, more nuanced. The ship's holographic display came to life, showing multiple layers of the mysterious signal. Fractal patterns danced across the screen, mathematical sequences that seemed to breathe with an intelligence of their own. Each pulse of the signal carried in complexity that defied traditional understanding. "Something's changing," Lieutenant Kumar muttered, his fingers flying across the quantum interface. "The signal is adapting. It's not just sending information, it's learning." Suddenly, the ship's secondary communication systems began to fluctuate. Navigation computers flickered, displaying fragments of the alien signal. Belina stepped forward, her hand instinctively moving to the emergency shutdown protocol. "Hold," she commanded, watching the patterns carefully. The signal wasn't attempting to disable their systems. Instead, it seemed to be integrating, communicating in a way that transcended traditional technological barriers. Mathematical sequences began to resolve into complex astronomical calculations, star charts that extended far beyond human exploration, quantum navigation techniques that suggested travel across unimaginable distances. Commander Michael Torres, the ship's tactical officer, looked up with concern. "Captain, the signal is penetrating our quantum communication arrays. It's not an attack, but it's something else." Alina's mind worked rapidly. Her years of military strategy had taught her to recognize patterns, to understand the difference between a threat and an unknown variable. This was no simple message. It was a complex form of communication that challenged everything humanity understood about interaction. "Maintain observation protocols," she ordered. "I want continuous monitoring. No aggressive responses." The UEA's horizon maintained its position, a sentinel of human exploration suspended in the vast darkness of space. Around them, the mysterious signal continued its intricate dance, a communication that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Lieutenant Kumar's voice broke the tension. "Captain, I'm detecting changes in the signal's quantum signature. It's evolving, almost like it's trying to establish a more comprehensive method of communication." Belina watched the holographic display, her scientific curiosity matching her military caution. The signal wasn't just a message, it was an invitation, a complex, multidimensional communication that challenged the very foundations of human understanding. "Prepare full analysis protocols," she commanded, "and get me a direct line to Dr. Novak on Europa Station. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." As the bridge crew worked, the mysterious signal continued its intricate dance, a cosmic whisper that carried the potential to redefine humanity's understanding of intelligence, communication, and their place in the universe. The quantum signal reached a critical point of complexity that defied traditional understanding. Dr. Zora Novak and Captain Elena Rodriguez found themselves at the epicenter of a communication breakthrough that would redefine human comprehension of intelligent life. The signal began to resolve into something more than just mathematical sequences. It was a comprehensive data stream that contained fragments of knowledge, scientific understanding, astronomical discoveries, and glimpses of a civilization that had mastered communication beyond physical limitations. "It's not just a message," Zora explained during the emergency conference call with Elena and Marcus Reyes. "It's a form of collective intelligence. Each quantum fluctuation is carrying multiple layers of information." Holographic displays across the Europa Research Station and the UES horizon began to synchronize. The alien communication was no longer just a signal. It was becoming a bridge between two fundamentally different forms of intelligence. Lieutenant Prakash Kumar noticed something extraordinary. "The signal is creating a translation matrix," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "It's adapting our communication protocols to its own understanding." Fragments of understanding began to emerge. The signal originated from a civilization that existed beyond traditional space-time constraints. They were explorers of consciousness, beings who had transcended physical limitations and viewed communication as a living, adaptive process. The final resolution came unexpectedly. The quantum signal wasn't an invasion or a threat. It was an invitation to understand a form of intelligence that existed beyond human comprehension. "We're being offered a glimpse," Marcus Reyes said, his voice trembling with scientific excitement. "Not just of another civilization, but of a completely different way of perceiving existence. The signal began to compile a comprehensive database of human knowledge, simultaneously offering glimpses of their own civilization's understanding. It was a cosmic exchange, an intellectual handshake across unimaginable distances. Captain Elena Rodriguez recognized the significance of the moment. "This isn't first contact," she told her crew. "This is first understanding." The quantum communication array pulsed with a final, complex sequence. It contained the accumulated knowledge of a civilization that had mastered communication as an art form, a way of sharing consciousness that transcended language, technology, and physical limitations. Dr. Zora Novak watched in awe as the final transmission resolved. It wasn't a message in any traditional sense. It was an invitation, a doorway to understanding that humanity had never before imagined. "We're not alone," she whispered, "and we're more connected than we ever realized." The signal began to fade, leaving behind a complex quantum imprint, a lasting connection that would take generations to fully comprehend. Humanity had received its first true message from the cosmos, not of conquest or conflict, but of profound, beautiful communication. As the quantum arrays settled, a new chapter of human understanding began. The boundaries between known and unknown, between isolated and connected, had been forever transformed. The cosmic horizon had spoken, and humanity was listening.